This is what we're making, a set of spiral fold form textured earrings. This will take 2 pieces of 0.5 thick fine silver, 8 millimeters wide, 75 millimeters long. Scribe a line down the middle. They're 8 wide, so 4 millimeters on your calipers. Tighten them so they don't move. Hook the top edge over and just drag the back along, and you'll have a nice line. And we're going to anneal it now. So I just have a neutral flame. That one's annealed. That took 8 seconds. Yeah, quench them in water and dry them. Always dry your metal after you quench it. Now, with sterling, after you anneal and quench, you need to pickle to get the oxides off, because this is fine silver, no oxides. So we're going to use our big old clunky welding pliers. Line up your mark with the edge. Leave it so you can see about 1/2 mil on the other side of your mark, because when you fold it, I'll shift this back so you can see. Just push it against your bench plate, and you can see that if we didn't leave a little bit of a mark visible, we'd be slightly off. So fold it over as far as you can get it on this edge. I would take a rawhide hammer and just tap it a little bit more to make sure it's right down against the pliers. Otherwise, when we start to fold that on over, it'd be difficult because it would only be a 90-degree rather than a 45. So do them both. Now take your rawhide hammer and tap it down so that it's together and flat. Do them both. Then take your jeweler's hammer or your little cross pane, and we're going to texture it. Don't kill it, but go down the whole length, turn it over, do the other side. Do both pieces. If it's slightly wonky when you finish, don't worry. It'll just give it a little bit of character. Anneal them both at this point because you will have work hardened them by hammering it. And if you don't anneal it, it'll be impossible to open it. Dry them as well as you can. You won't be able to get them 100% because there'll be water inside the fold. And pick what's going to be the top and hallmark it about halfway through the material. If you hallmark it right on the edge, it'll make it difficult to open. So that's me. This is the middle. Round the ends slightly, file and sand, just the ends. These are small, so you can just hold them in your fingers if you wish. Number 2 cut, flat hand file. Try to make them the same because they're a pair of earrings. We want them symmetrical, roughly symmetrical. .400 grade paper on a sanding stick. So just follow your file. We're going to open these now, and you can use a burnisher to work it into the end. You just need to start to open it. Sometimes I use my fingernails. I've got pretty tough ones. Or you can brace this against your bench peg. But be careful, because what you don't want is to put marks on the inside, because that's the part you'll be able to see. So once I get it so it's partially open like this, I'm going to hammer it with a rawhide hammer on my triangular mandrel. It's because I have a triangular mandrel, and when I hold it on my block, if I slide the handle down to the end, it holds itself flat. It doesn't turn. You could brace this against your bench peg and open the whole thing partially with this burnisher, and then you could turn this upside down on your ring mandrel, gently tap it. We don't want it flayed open. We just want it partially open so that we have a little bit more texture happening. I'll show you. As you open this, just be really aware of the edges. What you don't want is to start to crimp one edge, because if you do, then it's really difficult to get it open. Take your time. So after you've opened these about this far, open them a little bit more on your ring mandrel. I only open them about halfway. For me, that's enough, because I like to see the fold. So at this point, we're going to drill a 1 millimeter hole about 1.5 millimeters down from the top. Drill right in the fold. Do them both, and check your hole mark. Make sure that you have them both up, or not, both down. Now, where the drill came through on the back, you need to use your sanding stick. Get the rough bit off. Check with your fingers. If you can't feel a rough bit, it's perfect. Do them both. Check the ends with your fingers. Make sure they aren't rough. Just use your sanding stick for this. Now, to make my spiral, I'm going to use a round bezel mandrel, and it's just like a small scale ring mandrel. So I'm starting at the small end, holding my thumb on it, bracing this against my chest, and he said, anneal it again. If you haven't annealed it, it'll be impossible to form it. And I could tell straight away as I started to bend it that it wasn't annealed. anneal them. So wherever you pick on your mandrel to start, mark so that you can do them both the same. And so put the top at that spot, and we're just going to wrap it a nice tight spiral. Like that. And the magic thing about fine silver is you can work it with your fingers, because like this end I want up, so at this point I'll just pull it up. Yeah. And do your other one. Adjust them with your fingers. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the second one spiral in the opposite direction so that when you look at them they're a pair. So the first one was wrapped clockwise and this one is wrapped anti-clockwise, counterclockwise, however you'd like to say it. Pull that up so you can see one goes one way, one goes the other. Pretty good. So now a set of ear wires, 0.8 wire that's half hard, 50 mil long. I'll just be quick on these because I've showed you how to make them before. File the ends flat, just number 2 cut flat hand file, hold them in your fingers. Do both of them. Sand the ends. 400 grade paper on your sanding stick. Use your flat round pliers that you've put a mark on so that you can make both these the same. Roll it against your finger. Center the loop. Make your drop. Shift that to the other side, up and over. Little kick in the end. That's your ear wire. Don't make it complicated. Once again, practice with your copper wire until you can do this in your sleep. If you mark your pliers so that you are using your pliers as your marking tool, you'll end up by being able to make pretty much exactly the same thing every time. Use your parallel jaw pliers. Open this loop sideways. Put your earring on this way. Close the loop, wiggling it until it touches your wire, and that way this won't come off. So that's it, nice and simple. Check it with your fingers, make sure there aren't any sharp edges. Throw it in the tumbler and it's done. So this is a pair that both spiral to the right, and this is the pair that we made that spiral left and right. Up to you. I quite like having mirror images. Have fun. Cheers.